BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
This is the Youngblood podcast, so turn up that volume. Each week I talk to one of you at home about something that's going on in your life. We've had some pretty big things happening in the world over the last couple of weeks. To everyone listening in America, whatever your beliefs, if you were old enough to vote, thank you so much for participating in democracy. Our generation are going to be the ones to change this world. I feel it in my water, as my mum would say. Never give up hope. We can and have made a difference. My guest this week is Marlowe. He's 26 and British German. He lived all over Northern Europe, but he's currently living in London. Marlowe is a trans man and recently asked his mum to use he/him pronouns for the first time. He's recently started wearing dresses again, something I relate to, and I love talking to him about becoming more comfortable in his gender expression. There was a couple rude words in this episode, so turn it off if you don't like that sort of thing. But if you do like that sort of thing, sit back and turn up the volume. Wow. Yo, Marlowe, what's up? How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good. It's so good to meet you. Your story was like a movie to me. It felt like a film, and I couldn't kind of wait to get into the script, if you like. You know what I mean?
That's really funny that you say that. That's basically my dream, is to make movies, so I'll run with that.
How did you meet your girlfriend?
I just want to clarify. I realized I didn't do that previously. I define myself as aromantic.
Oh,
and
okay,
so,
cool.
We call each other partners because we feel like we exist in this weird nebulous. There's a term called queer platonic. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's essentially redefining relationships from outside of the hierarchy of romance and friendship.
I love that, and do you know what? I just learned something then, and this is my favorite thing about this whole process. I will re-amend my question. How did you meet your partner?
Thank you. We met in a queue in London. I was an au pair in Italy because I had no fucking clue what to do with my life. And she was studying film because she had no fucking clue what to do in her life. And we randomly decided to go watch the same play. So I was in Italy, she was in Germany. We both went to London. And we spent 9-10 hours in a queue waiting for return tickets. I spent half of that time pretending I couldn't speak German. She was talking to a German friend of hers, and they were saying really nice things about me in German, and I was like, oh, I'm going to tell them I can understand what they're saying. I'm just going to let them talk about me.
Dude, that's so sick. And were you identifying as a man then, or were you?
No, I didn't even know what any of these terms were at the time. I had nothing at the time. I was like, okay, I finished school, and I don't know anything. And then we met, and then first I found, God, how was the trajectory of it? I think most people, I found gay first, and then bi, and then I found trans. I was like, okay, I'm bi and I'm trans. And then I found asexual, and I was like, okay, I'm trans and I'm asexual, I've got this. And then I found non-binary, and I was like, okay, I'm non-binary and asexual. And then I started not disliking those terms, because I still use them for myself, but I started being like, they don't really describe an experience. They describe something that's helpful for politics and explaining what we need in terms of rights and medical health and education and all of that.
Completely.
But doesn't describe a story.
Yeah, and it doesn't describe a person. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that's what, it's so interesting that you say that, because I feel exactly the same as you. I think when you learn a new terminology and a new way of thinking, like something you just said to me then, it kind of allows you to redefine what you actually are and gives you more opportunity to push the boundaries of being who you truly are. And I think that's what's so sick about our generation, is these terms are floating around and we're all talking to each other about them, so we can go, okay, that's where I slot in for now, but then another term comes along and we completely change. Mm-hmm. So what are your pronouns? How do you identify? Because I want to know that, so I can make you feel valid and I can make you feel real and happy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. So I use they, them, or he, him. And who knows, maybe 10 years in the future, I won't give a fuck. But for now, I do. So they, them, or he, him. I'm good with both. Sometimes I feel more masculine, but that thing where it's like my ideal masculinity is like wearing dresses and wearing makeup, and like my ideal femininity is like butch women. Like,
you are such an interesting person to me, because you think in a similar way to me, that what is to say that femininity is represented by dresses and floral, and what is to say that masculinity is represented by muscles and, do you know what I'm saying, a six-pack and whatever, a beard. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what I was so excited to speak to you, because coming out as trans, how did you discover that? Was that the craziest process you'd ever been through, or was it something you kind of knew all your life?
So I think this is really common with a lot of trans and non-binary and genderqueer people. And I use all of those terms, by the way. I really am not that, like, fussy. It depends on who I'm talking to, but I feel like you get these terms, so it's fine. But I think a lot of people do that thing where they're like, okay, I've come out and I feel pretty good about this. And then you think about your life and you're like, wait a second. That's why I did that when I was 6 years old. Oh. I mean, I'm not saying that 6-year-old me had an intrinsic knowledge of transness, because obviously I never heard of the term, but 6-year-old me was uncomfortable about the femininity that was being pushed on me. And I had like a pretty liberal, like my family home life was pretty liberal with that, and I grew up with 3 brothers as well, but it was like, why am I being asked to present this way at all? Why am I not allowed to do really small things that shouldn't matter, like cut my hair, or I don't know, like not wear a shirt when it's hot outside? I'm 6 years old. Why are we doing things like why are we sexualizing that? Why are we gendering that? You're a 6-year-old.
Completely. And that's it. You were just being who you were. Such a big thing to remember. Be who you are. Be dot who dot you dot are dot exclamation mark. When you met your partner, did you transition after you met your partner, and were they supportive of that?
So yeah, they've been supportive from the start. And like the thing is, so I met her entire friend group because they were all hanging around this place, Mainz, and also like the surrounding countryside, which is where she grew up. So I met her whole friend group, and they're now also my friends. And since we've met, it's like, you know, she's come out as like sort of bi, and like sometimes she's like, maybe I'm a bit aspectrum-y. Other people that I know have come out as bi or as trans or as queer, and I'm like, oh, we do flock together, don't we? It was such a weird time where we were all sort of in our early 20s. Like I said, yeah, we were all in our early 20s, and none of us had been presented with these concepts as valid, like, identities or valid forms of expression. Completely. Or valid forms of loving other people. And then suddenly it was like, oh, we can just do that? That's okay? All right, cool. We're gonna do it. And we're gonna do it as much as we possibly can.
And yeah, dude, I love that. And I think that is such a thing that is becoming very apparent and very progressive very quickly. And that's what I love, kind of, to keep having conversations about it, because the rules, in inverted commas, whatever that mean, they keep growing and expanding every day, because these terminologies are becoming more valid, and as they should be, normalized in this society, whatever that means as well. Do you know what I mean? And that's just so incredible to me. And you were talking about coming from kind of a pretty liberal home. Was it strange to ask your parents or your mum to change your pronouns? And could your parents do it? Did it frustrate you when they potentially used the wrong ones?
So I say liberal progressive household. My mum's side of the family.
Okay, yeah, first.
Is that
there's always one side, isn't there? There's
always a side. My dad is it's not a defense, but he's quite old. He was born, for context, he was born before the Second World War.
Wow.
So he's like in his 80s. I have not come out to my dad. I don't plan to come out to my dad. We don't have that kind of relationship. But I came out to my mom. I came out to my mom last year. So I think, like, in terms of the whole, like, thing about coming out and stuff, and I'm very much predicting that it's not a finished thing yet, because I also am not all there
still figuring
yet.
it out, yeah, of course. As you should.
But yeah, like the first couple of years, it was just me, this group of people, and especially me and my partner, who were figuring things out with each other. And then when we came to London, I was like, okay, I'm gonna introduce myself as this. This is how I introduce myself now. And I did that, and it went okay. And so now I started doing that more. So then it wasn't until last year that I felt, okay, I feel confident enough in explaining this experience to other people that I think I can come out to my mum. Because, well, I didn't think that my mom was going to take it badly. There was definitely a feeling of, okay, I have to be ready to defend myself in case she does. And that's like a really unfortunate feeling to have.
100%. And like that, I completely admire you, like your courage and your strength within that, because that must be like having conquer in the back of your throat or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
It was the dumbest coming out too. We were like,
why?
It's so stupid. So I was living in England. I was visiting her on this island where she works. She works in this hospital on this island off the coast of Sweden, which is like this great little island. And I was visiting her for a week, and I just couldn't find any time alone with her because there was family everywhere. And
Yeah.
And then on the last day, I was like, oh, we're on a beach. We're alone. The sun is going down. This feels like a weird special episode or a Hallmark movie. I hate this. Why is this not more natural?
Better do it now, yeah.
And so we were walking. I was like, there's something I want to tell you. And then right as I was saying trans, I slipped on a rock. So it came out as like, Mom, I'm trans. And it was it was really, really stupid. But it was fine. Like it kind of took away a lot of
brilliant. I don't think that's stupid at all. I think that's absolutely brilliant, and I think that's so great.
But yeah, so
I think that's all we want, right? We all just want to be accepted for who we are, no matter who we are or what we're gonna be eventually at the end of our journey. If you don't know right now and you're going through it, be proud to not know. You know what I mean?
I love the transition in a way. Like,
did you?
I haven't done any like physical transition yet, and I hate that part because I've been on the waiting list for the waiting list. Like, I'm not even on the actual waiting list. I've been on that waiting list for over a year, so I'm just waiting for them to tell me, like the GIC, to be like, you are now on the waiting list. We've like gone over your thing, and you seem like a valid person, I guess. But that part sucks. But the actual, I don't actually quite know, and this could change in the future. That's great. I love that. I love that we're moving into a place where that not knowing and that feeling of transition is a joy rather than necessarily a struggle. It's the not acceptance. That's the struggle. The internal journey, that should be considered like something beautiful, because that's what we're all doing. Everybody is transitioning in some way or other throughout their lives. You're not just transitioning if you're trans. You could be transitioning to a new job, to a new place, to a new relationship. Like, everything is constantly changing. And I think that being trans should just be another facet of that.
Completely, 100%. And it's like, as I say, a lot of kind of trans people I meet and speak to, because obviously I'm always on my DMs, I'm always like looking forward just to try and like always keep up to date, because it is so important to me, because I have looked at these people's faces when they feel invalidated and they feel not real. And I would just say to anybody out there, if you are trans and if you are kind of transitional or anything, you are real, you are valid, you are heard, and we are going to work so hard to make sure that every single person feels validated and real. What is so punk rock to me about you is you started wearing dresses again, which is sick.
I didn't start wearing dresses again.
Dude, that's so sick. And like in the description, it's like you describe yourself as a boy in a dress right now, and I relate to that so heavy. I relate to that so heavy. I should have brought mine. I should have worn mine today.
I didn't wear a dress today, but that's because I've been sitting at home and I had to do work and school today, and I'm just tired now. So I was like, I'm not going to wear a dress today because I feel like a goblin. So I'm going to express a certain goblin self instead. But yeah, I wore a dress for Halloween and it was great.
Don't you just feel so sexy in it? Like as a boy in a dress, that's what I'm like. I feel so sexy in a dress. I'm just obsessed with it. I don't know why. Everyone's always like, why'd you wear it? I'm like, because I look sexy.
I look great. Fuck you.
I love that. You are a massive Star Trek fan, right?
I'm a massive Star Trek fan.
Bro, I wish I could relate. I don't relate. I'm sorry. I apologise.
It's okay.
But you met a lot of trans friends on an online Star Trek social club, right?
Yeah. It's so okay. I'm gonna be really, really like brief because I understand that not everybody is a fucking. So
calling all Star Trek fans out there.
Calling all Star Trek fans who are also queer and trans, which is most Star Trek fans that I know. So Deep Space Nine, which came out in the 90s, actually right around the time I was born, it had an actor in it called Alexander Siddig, who played one of the main characters. And he now was like, during COVID, he was like, oh, you know what? I wanna keep people's spirits up, and you know, maybe a few people would like to hang out with me and with each other and just talk about their life. It's literally this, what we're doing right now, except with more people in the room. And so he started that up, and then we started up like our various like places to speak to each other. Like, so I now have like, I've got some trans friends from Australia who are like, please come to Australia and we'll put you up on a drag night. And I was like, yes, please, thank you, please take you to Australia so I can do drag in Australia. I've got friends from New Zealand and America and France. It's just really, really, really great. I got paid for this now. Like, being a Star Trek nerd has now paid for me. I published an article on the official Star Trek news site about gender nonconformity in Star Trek. So it's like, dude, my two
so sick. That
hyperfixations and just coming together.
That's such a sick thing to kind of understand, and like, again, like to kind of shout to everyone at home. I think that is the incredible thing about online and social media right now. And honestly, I would always encourage people to like, always be 100% yourself, because that's when you'll find people who are 100% right for you. If you're only being 80% yourself and you're hiding a little bit, you're only going to find people who are 80% right for you. You know what I'm saying? So if you go, this is what I am whatever you are, I've got purple hair, I love to dress up as a chicken, I am bisexual and my name's David, then people will relate to you. No matter what you are, there is going to be someone out there that goes, I feel that way too.
There's definitely somebody who vibes with purple-haired bisexual David in his chicken suit.
I vibe with bisexual David in his chicken suit and his purple hair. I want to do my hair purple because of David.
I think my next color is going to be purple.
Dude, same. I was going to go purple as well.
Oh,
should we do it together?
Snap.
I love it. Honestly, thank you so much, Marla. You've been incredible. Like, I'm so happy to speak to you. Have you got anything you want to say to anyone out there to sign off?
Oh gosh, there is a family for you. Like, trust me on that. There is a family, even if it's not your biological family, but if it is, that's also fucking great. But there is a family out there for you.
As Marla said, there is a family out there for everybody. What a cool dude, man. I just love how he's found his community through Star Trek. That's so sick. Like Marlowe, you might find your people in a place you didn't expect, so never, ever, ever, ever stop looking. If you want some information on LGBTQI+ issues, search online for the BBC Action Line. If, like me, you're stuck inside at the moment, listen back to old episodes on BBC Sounds. I'll see you next week. You can turn down the volume now.